Hello, good morning to all. I am Haja Asifullah, lecturer in chemistry from Government Degree College, Falaknuma, Hyderabad. Today, I present a video lesson on chemistry of complexes, which are also called as coordination compounds. Today's lesson is in continuation of the previous lessons. Actually, this is a series of lessons, it is divided into different parts. Today's is fifth part, fifth lesson of the series. In this lesson, actually, we will deal with electronic theory or Sedgwick theory of complexes. But before we go into details of that theory, let us recall the Werner's theory, which we discussed in the last class. It was presented by Alfred Werner in 1893, according to which metals possess two types of valencies. One is called primary valency, the other is called secondary valency. Actually, the primary valency of a metal is nothing but the oxidation state of the metal in which it exists. And it is equal to the number of electrons lost by that particular central metal atom in first stage. Let us take example of iron, ferrous in this complex in which it is present in +2 form. Why it is +2 form? Or oxidation state of iron is +2 here is because every cyanide will contribute -1 oxidation state. So 6 into 1, 6 minus are negative charges. These are to be nullified by 4 potassiums and 1 ferrous. The oxidation state of potassium is +1. So 4 minus 6 means -2 remains. This -2 should be neutralized by ferrous. So it is +2 for ferrous. Similarly, in second example, cobalt is the central metal atom or metal ion here, which is accepting 6 ligands, but its oxidation state or the number of electrons it lost in first stage is 3. Why? Because there are 3 Cl minus ions attached to it in ionic state. So each chloride will have -1, -1 into 3, -3. -3 plus 3 will give you 0. That should be the total charge on the molecule of complex. So in this complex, the oxidation state of ferrous is +2. Here, the cobalt's oxidation state is +3. In this way, these are the electrons lost by metal in first stage. It is called oxidation state or its primary valency. Now next is the secondary valencies are the coordination number. The coordination number or secondary valency is nothing but the number of ligands attached to the central metal ion. For example, if we consider this ion, it is complex ion, are totally central metal ion plus ligands. Here 6 ligands are there, and if we have 3 negative charges, Cl minus, the structure will be like this. 6 ligands with pink color. These are called secondary valencies are coordination numbers, and the number of electrons it will gain from these 6 molecules of ammonia 12. Why? Because ligand is supposed to donate a pair of electron to central metal ion, and it accepts and form coordinate covalent bond. This is the structure given by Werner for the above molecule of the complex, or molecule of the above complex, which is nothing but hexa means 6 amine ligands or ammonia molecules, and cobalt 3, that is the oxidation state of cobalt, chloride, 3 chloride atoms. They are forming octahedral structure. So the structure of COCl36NH3 are hexamine cobalt 3 chloride is octahedral in shape. Now, according to Werner, that can be tested in solution how many ions a particular complex molecule will produce, because the central sphere are called as coordination sphere or complex ion will not ionize in water. According to Werner, primary valencies are ionizable and they will produce ions in water, whereas secondary valencies are non-ionizable, so they will not produce ions. So for compound COCl36NH3, number of ions that can be produced are 4 out of 4. 1 is due to central part or complex ion or coordination sphere, and 3 due to Cl minus. In this way, for next compound COCl35NH3, it will be totally 3 ions it will produce in water, and of those 2 are chloride ions. In this way, it expresses. Now, the structure of complex. As I told you, the structure of complex according to Werner theory depends upon coordination number. For coordination number 6, the geometry or shape or structure of the molecule of the compound or complex is octahedral, which will be shown like this. This is the plane in which metal, that is central metal atom, and 4 ligand atoms are occupied. Central metal ion is occupying the center of the rectangle or square, and corners are occupied by 4 ligand atoms or ions. And one ion or molecule will be above the plane, the other will be below the plane. When we join all these points, or this point to 4 corners and this point to 4 corners of the rectangle, we get octahedron. Every octahedral shape, every plane or surface will be triangular in shape. So octahedral shape having triangular planes. These are the 2 examples of 2 different compounds which may form octahedral shape. Coming to the shape or geometry or structure of a complex with coordination number 4, according to Werner, they can have 2 different shapes. One is called square planar, the other is called tetrahedral. So for square planar, we assume that it is a plane which is a rectangular plane. In the center of the plane, metal atom will be there, or metal ion will occupy the place, and the corners will be occupied by the ligands, giving rise to square planar. This plane is a square one. For example, in the case of this ion, tetramine, Q for copper 2. So it is having square planar shape. With same coordination number 4, few complexes may have tetrahedral shape. For example, nickel tetracarbonyl or tetrachlorocopper 2. Here it is a neutral molecule of complex and named as tetracarbonyl nickel 0, and here it is tetrachlorocuprate 2 because it is anion, or the central part of coordination sphere is anionic, or it is in ionic form. Now, according to Werner, few complexes may show or exhibit isomerism, especially the complexes whose structure is square planar will exhibit geometrical isomerism, and this is because of their shape and the occupying ions or molecules where they occupy. For example, in this complex, here 2 Cl atoms are occupied on the same side. Here they are on opposite side. So if they occupy on same side, it is called cis isomer. If they are on opposite side, it is called trans isomer. Here also same side cis, opposite sides trans. So in geometrical isomers, there are 2 types of isomers, cis and trans, and this is for square planar complexes. Now, why we need another theory to explain the characteristics or properties of complexes? This is because Werner was able to explain successfully about the possibility of complexes by taking primary and secondary valencies, etc., by considering the concept of primary valencies and secondary valencies, and he could able to explain the structures of compounds with coordination number 6, 4, etc. But he fails to explain the color of complex and magnetic property of the complex. Werner's theory fails to explain why a particular complex has a particular color, whereas the other has a different color. Similarly, the magnetic properties of complex compounds or coordination compounds could not be explained on the basis of Werner's theory. And one more limitation or defect of the Werner's theory for complexes is that it had no theoretical justification for the proposed theory. So we need new theory or another theory. Sidgwick and Laurie gave this theory, which is named with Sidgwick theory coordination, or it is also called as electronic interpretation of complexes. It is also called as electronic interpretation of complexes or coordination compounds. It was presented by Sidgwick and Laurie in 1923. They proposed their theory. Now, they continued or they adopted the theory of Werner, and they modified it and they have added few new things to the Werner's theory. They accepted that there are two types of valencies in complexes for central metal atom or metal ion. Means a central metal atom will have two types of valencies. This is again was proposed by Werner. According to this, a primary valency of metal arises due to loss of electrons by the metal atom in the first stage or initial stage, where it may lose one or more than one electrons. For example, if we take copper, copper can lose two electrons or one electron. Cobalt may lose 3 electrons. Silver may lose 1 electron. In this way, they give +1 or +2 or +3 oxidation states, sometimes +4 also. Why? Because in transition metals, they have variable oxidation states or valencies, and that may extend up to +8. But in most of the cases, it is 1, 2, 3, or 4, etc. Okay. Second, the secondary valencies are the result of electron sharing between metal ion and the ligand. You know the central metal ion? It is nothing but a metal from D block elements, especially from transition metals like platinum, nickel, copper, cobalt, manganese, chromium, and silver, etc. Now, what is ligand? Ligand is a neutral molecule or a negative ion or a positive ion, whatever it may be, but it has to have a ability to donate electrons, or it should give these electrons or share electrons with the central metal ion to form coordinate bond or dative bond or coordinate covalent bond. Therefore, these ligands have ability to form bonds by donating pair of electrons to the central metal ion. And these electrons will be donated in pairs or in 2 electrons or 4 electrons or 6 electrons, like that. Because they are donating electrons, therefore they are called donor. And central metal ion is accepting electrons, therefore here they are called acceptors. So central metal ion is acceptor, ligand is donor, and there will be a bond formed between central metal ion and ligand, which is called dative or coordinate bond. It is a type of covalent bond, therefore it is also called as coordinate covalent bond. And this bond is denoted by an arrow mark. This arrow mark is used to denote coordinate covalent bond or dative or coordinate bond. And the direction of arrow is from ligand to metal, which shows that ligand is donating the pair of electron and metal is accepting the pair of electrons. So the tail should be towards ligand and head of the arrow should be towards metal ion. Now, these primary valencies are nothing but the number of electrons lost by a metal atom in its initial state. As I told you that cobalt may lose 3 electrons, so it may have +3 as its primary valency, or it is also called as oxidation state. So the cobalt's oxidation state is 3, or primary valency of cobalt is 3. Whereas in secondary valencies, this will be number of pairs which are gained by the central metal ion, or it is also equal to the number of electron pairs donated by the ligand atoms or molecules or ions. So the number of electrons that a central metal ion gain from the ligand will be twice the coordination number of the metal. Okay, what is coordination number of metal? It is equal to the number of ligands attached to the central metal ion. For example, if we consider here, there are 4 ligands attached to platinum, which is central metal ion. So coordination number of platinum is 4. Similarly, there are 4 groups or molecules attached to nickel, so its coordination number is 4. Whereas in the case of hexamine cobalt chloride, that will be 6. Why? Because there are 6 ammonia molecules attached to cobalt. For example, we have taken hexaamine cobalt 3 chloride. 6 ammonia molecules are attached to it. Therefore, 6 is the coordination number of the cobalt. And the number of electrons a cobalt can accept is 6 pairs of electrons is 6 into 2, 12. This you have to remember. Second thing, the ionizable ions are kept outside the coordination sphere. First, you have to remember that the species which are included in coordination sphere are nothing but the central metal ion and the ligands. Sometimes there may be more than one type of ligand. Whatever it may be, all ions or molecules of ligand and the metal ions will be written in square bracket, and it is called complex ion. Here in this theory, that is Sidgwick's theory, he represents that coordination sphere as this. In Werner's theory, the dative bonds were written with thick lines, and ionizable bonds were represented by dotted line. Whereas in Sidgwick theory, we do not represent those ions which are ionizable here, but in a square bracket only central metal ion and ligands are kept, and they are joined by arrows. Why arrows instead of thick lines? Because this represent or this give you an idea that electron pairs are donated by ammonia or nitrogen atom to the central metal ion. All these arrows represent the dative or coordinate bond. Therefore, these 6 arrows are 6 dative bonds formed by ammonia molecules with cobalt, and these are due to sharing of electron pairs. Therefore, they are covalent in nature and will not ionize in water. That you have to remember. Now, Sidgwick gave one rule called as EAN rule. What is EAN rule? It is nothing but effective atomic number rule, or it is also called as 18 electron rule. Why 18 electron rule? Because according to this rule, the metal ion, when loses electrons in first stage, then accept electron pairs from ligand, the total number of electron in their valence shell should not increase 18 number. That is, it should have nearly 18 electrons, or sometimes exactly 18 electrons. Therefore, it is also called as 18 electron rule, or it is also named as effective atomic number. Then what is effective atomic number? Effective atomic number of a central metal atom is nothing but the number that represents the total number of electrons surrounding the nucleus of a metal atom in a metal complex. It is composed of metal atoms, electrons, and the bonding electrons from the surrounding electron donating atoms and molecules. What is the meaning? How to understand this is, it is very easy. Effective atomic number is nothing but the electrons which are surrounding the nucleus of the central metal atom. And these are nothing but the electrons present in their valence shell. And these are due to loss of electrons plus gain of electron. So we should write it as Z minus primary valency or oxidation state, and these are the electrons which are lost in first stage, plus 2 into coordination number, that is the secondary valency, or the electrons which are shared or which are accepted by metal atom. So all electrons of central metal atom which are around the nucleus, we are taking it as nu Z, that is new atomic number to the metal atom. So the resultant atomic number, or called as effective atomic number, is a new atomic number of metal atom present in the metal complex, which is forming bond with ligands. And generally, this Z will be equal to the atomic number of nearest noble gas atomic number. So EAN of the metal is generally equal to or nearly equal to the atomic number of any element of a noble gas like krypton, xenon, or radon, etc. So the effective atomic number which the metal atom will gain is the result of loss of electrons, then gain of electrons. Okay, so the EAN can be expressed in the form of a formula. EAN is equal to Z minus PV plus 2 into Cn, means effective atomic number of central metal atom is equal to its atomic number minus the oxidation state of the metal in first stage plus the coordination number, is number of ligands which are attached to it, into 2. So the resultant will be a number. We will get a number which is equal to the atomic number of an element from noble gas, or it is nearly equal to that. So let us take one example in which we will try to calculate the effective atomic number of cobalt in a complex hexamine cobalt 3 chloride or its ion. For that, we need the formula, that is Z minus PV plus 2 into coordination number. Now, to calculate EAN, we have to first take the Z of the cobalt. Z is the atomic number of cobalt. It is 27. Means there are 27 electrons initially which are present in the atom of cobalt, and they are revolving around the nucleus of the cobalt atom. So it loses 3 electrons in its primary level or first level to form cobalt 3 cation or a trivalent cation, means it has lost 3 electrons. So we should write primary valency of it as 3. Then it will gain 1 electron pair from each ammonia molecule. And we know that there are 6 ammonia molecules. Therefore, 6 pairs it will get from 6 ammonia molecules or ligand, which are attached to the central metal ion cobalt. Now we have to double it. So coordination number of this is 6 into 2, 12 electrons is gaining, or 6 pairs are 12 electrons. It has accepted from ammonia. So if we substitute all those values in the formula, 27 minus 3 means 24, plus 12 means 36. We know that this is a new atomic number of cobalt, and it is in the complex with ammonia. Now, this Z, if we recall, is Z of Kr, means krypton. So this new number is equal to the atomic number of krypton. It is a noble gas. As I told you, the new atomic number or effective atomic number of the central metal atom will be equal to the atomic number of any noble gas. Now, let us consider another example in which let us calculate the EAN in this complex called as potassium hexacyanoferrate. Potassium hexacyanoferrate, because here complex ion is a negative ion or anion. When anion is the complex ion, then we have to add 8, so ferrate. Now, the atomic number of Z, to calculate the EAN of Fe, we need Z, so it is say 26. Ferrous will lose 2 electrons in its first stage, or the valency, primary valency of ferrous is plus 2, or it is also called as oxidation state. But it is gaining 1 electron pair from each cyanide ion, and there are 6 cyanide ions, means 6 into 2, 12 electrons it will accept or gain, or it will share. Therefore, the effective atomic number of ferrous, or the new atomic number for it, will be Z minus, means 26 minus 2 plus 12. So 26 minus 2 means 24 plus 12 is 36 again. It is the atomic number of an element from noble gas called as krypton. Therefore, the new atomic number of ferrous, or effective atomic number of ferrous, after losing 2 electrons and then gaining 12 electrons, is 36. Okay, so all these 36 electrons are around the nucleus. So EAN is nothing but the arrangement of all electrons which are remain after loss of few electrons and then gain of few electrons. So it is the arrangement of electrons around the nucleus of the central metal atom. Let us take few more examples. This we have already taken. In this example, again, nickel atom is making bond with 6 ligand molecules, that is 6 ammonia molecules, and it has 2 charges on the coordination sphere. So how to get the oxidation number of nickel here? Because ammonia is a molecule and has no positive or negative charge, therefore its oxidation state is 0. So whatever be the number here will reflect the oxidation number of nickel. So the oxidation number of nickel in this coordination sphere or complex is +2. Now, what is the ZR atomic number of nickel? It is 28. And how many electrons it is gaining from ammonia? The coordination number of nickel is 6 because 6 ligand or ammonia molecules are attached to it. Therefore, total number of electrons it gains is 6 into 2. 6 pairs into 2 means 12. So 28 minus 2, 26 plus 12 is 38. It is not exactly equal to the atomic number of krypton, but it is nearly equal. As I told you earlier, En will either be equal to or nearly equal to the atomic number of an element of noble gas. Now, let us take this complex. It is pentacarbonyl ferrous. Here, this iron complex, again, carbonyl is a molecule, so it will not have any charge on it. So the oxidation state of this is 0 because it is in molecular form. So oxidation state on the molecule will be 0, no charge. And there is no charge on the complex ion, therefore there will be no charge on the iron atom. So it is in atomic form, not in ionic form. Therefore, 26 minus 0. Why? Because oxidation state or primary valency of ferrous is 0 in this complex. And it is attached to 5 carbonyl groups, or 5 carbonyl groups are attached to ferrous. 5 carbonyl group means coordination number of iron here is 5. All 5 molecules are contributing or donating 5 pairs of electrons. 5 into 2, 10 electrons. So 26 plus 10, 36, again a noble gas, krypton. Here, wolfram. Again, it is bonded to carbonyl groups. There are 6 carbonyl molecules or groups attached to wolfram atom. Every molecule will donate a pair of electrons or 2 electrons. Therefore, its coordination number is 6 and total number of electrons it gains is 6 into 2, 12. Its atomic number is 74. The atomic number of wolfram is 74 minus 0 is its oxidation state or primary valency. Plus 12 means 86. 86 is it is nearly equal to the atomic number of an element of noble gas called as radon, whose atomic number is 84. So remember, EAN of a metal is either equal to or nearly equal to the Z or atomic number of the of a member of noble gas. There are many such examples given here. This we have calculated, it is equal to 36 and it is equal to the atomic number of krypton, whereas in this case, tetramine copper 2 sulfate. Here oxidation state of copper is +2 and atomic number is 29. 29 minus 2 is 27. It is gaining 4 molecules, means 4 pairs of electron. 4 into 2, 8. So 27 plus 8 means 35. Again, it is not equal to 36, but it is nearly equal to 36. So its effective atomic number is nearly equal to the atomic number of krypton. Here, we have taken that example here. Nickel 28 is the atomic number, plus 2 is oxidation state. So 28 minus 2 is 26. And coordination number of nickel here is 4. 4 into 2, 8 electrons it will gain. So 26 plus 8 gives you 34. 28 minus 2, 26 plus 8, 34. In this way, here we have different complexes whose EAN, that is effective atomic number, is calculated. Here in this case, chromium. Chromium exists in +3 state. Its atomic number is 24. 24 minus 3, 21. 6 into 2, 12. 12 plus 21, 33. So it is again not equal to the atomic number of krypton, but it is nearly equal to the atomic number of krypton. Now in this example, mercury, whose atomic number is 80, lost 2 electrons in initial stage, means its primary valency is +2. But we have to subtract it. So 80 minus 2, 78. Then every iodide ion will give it 2 electrons. 2 into 4. 4 such ions are there. So 4 into 2, 8. 8 plus 70. 8 means 86. Again, it is nearly equal. It is equal to radon. Why? Because atomic number of radon is 86. 54 is atomic number of xenon, 36 is for krypton, and 86 of radon. So with these examples, we can clearly understand the concept of EAN, which says that in complexes, central metal ion first loses electrons, then gains electrons. In first stage, they can lose 1, 2, 3, 4 electrons. And in second stage, they cannot gain in odd number, but if they can get in even number or in pairs. So first is called primary valency, second is called secondary valency. And when we subtract the primary valency and then add the number of electrons gained by the central metal ion, we get a new number called as new atomic number for that central metal atom. And it is also called as effective atomic number. And it is nothing but the electrons arranged around the nucleus of that central metal atom. Now, there are particular type of complexes called as nitrosyl and carbonyls. In nitrosyls, we have to add 1 electron to the atomic number because it is a positively charged ion. Sometimes positively charged ions are also act as ligands. So here, in this case, cobalt, carbonyl, and nitrosyl. Here, cobalt is central metal ion, carbonyl is the ligand, and nitrosyl also. Therefore, the total effective atomic number will be 27 is the atomic number of cobalt plus 128. Then we have to add 6 electrons for this 2 into 3 and 1 pair for this, totally 8 electrons. It will be equal to 36 and it will be the atomic number of krypton. Similarly for this ferrous means 26. Then we have to add 2 electrons. Then 28 is the new number plus 8 electrons of these two ligands which are donated by them. Therefore, it is totally 36. For carbonyls, the EN rule. Why? Because carbonyl are in generally carbonyl we have no charge on ligand. Sometimes metal-metal bond can exist in the carbonyls. So whenever metal-metal bond exists in the carbonyl, we have to add one electron. So here we have an example in which two manganese atoms are bonded, or there is a metal-metal bond or bond between two manganese atoms. Therefore, Mn, that is manganese, has 25 electrons, which is the atomic number of manganese, minus 0 is the primary valency because carbonyl group is a neutral one, plus 5 carbonyl molecules act as 5 ligand molecules. Therefore, 5 into 2 are the given electrons plus 1 because of bond between metal-metal atoms. So totally it is 25 plus 10, 20, 35 plus 1, 36. Again, it is equal to the atomic number of krypton. So there we can have many such examples with which we can understand the concept of EAN rule given by Sidgwick. But Sidgwick could also explain few things which were already explained by Werner, or he expanded that theory. It also has certain defects in it, like it does not, the theory does not predict the type of metal orbitals which may be involved in bonding. This theory does not predict the magnetic behavior of the complex. Again, Werner's theory could not also explain the magnetic behavior. Similarly, Sidgwick cannot explain the magnetic behavior. This theory does not explain satisfactorily the geometrical shape of the complexes. This theory does not explain why certain metal ions exhibit more than one coordination number. As explained earlier, many well-known complexes do not follow Sidgwick rule, as we have many such cases in which the EAN of the complexes is not equal to the atomic number of noble gas like krypton or xenon or radon. It may be 35 or 34 or 33, like that. The lone pair of electrons that are being donated in many cases are of 2s level. Then how the bonding character can be explained? The theory fails to explain that. So there are few defects in Sidgwick's theory. Therefore, we have to have another theory called as valence band theory. There are many theories to explain the characteristics of complexes, such as Werner theory, Sidgwick theory, valence band theory, VBT theory, and crystal field theory, etc. So with this, we have completed two theories, Werner's theory and Sidgwick theory. We will deal with one more theory called as valence bond theory or VBT theory in the next class. For today, let us stop here. So with this, we end the chapter. Thank you for all.